Welcome back. We are in part 2 of the off-camera flash for beginners series. We're going to be talking about a 2 flash setup. So one of them's off camera, one of them's on camera, and it's the perfect way to get started if you're just starting with flash. If you're finding this video first and you haven't watched last week's video, be sure to check that one out. I go over what gear I use, what settings I use, and how I set everything up. This week, we are going to be talking about what modifiers I use, how I can soften light to make it look a little less harsh coming out of the flash, and where I stand in relation to the flash on the dance floor or when I'm at a wedding. So let's dive in. So first, let's talk about modifiers, ways that you can play around with light, change light, soften light, all that kind of stuff. I have 2 go-tos when I am shooting with off-camera flash at a wedding reception. Number 1, let me just turn this around. Okay. Number 1 is that I always shoot with the bounce card up because I'm not going to be shooting directly, like my flash is never going to go like this at people. That's just not going to be flattering and it doesn't look nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it up, usually like 1 click forward. I'm going to be bouncing it. If I'm standing over underneath, okay, so it helps if there's a white ceiling. If there's not a white ceiling but there's a white wall, I may end up tilting it like that and shooting like this. So what I want to do is create bouncing and indirect light on my subjects because that's going to be the most flattering and give the most shape to my subjects and not just flatten them completely by flashing straight at them. So the first modifier is this little guy. The second thing I do, and I don't do this all the time, but most of the time, I use a white shoot-through umbrella. So, let's do this. Okay. It looks like this. It opens up and it slides into the flash pole. So I have a flash that has a cold shoe, so it basically has the same exact hot shoe thing under here, but there's no connectivity, so it's called a cold shoe. So you slide that in, and then I'll put this inside of the stand. So it's going to aim like this on the dance floor. This is my stand. You'll get the idea. Basically, the legs kick out on the bottom, and it gives it a really nice, sturdy base so that if somebody bumps into it, it's not just gonna fly over. So it's very wide. This is the cold shoe. So I'm gonna show you. This is where the flash would go in. Once that is in, you would go ahead and get this. This is where it would go into the stand. I would tighten it with this little screw and it would shoot directly into this umbrella. It's going to shoot into the umbrella and the umbrella is gonna scatter the light. So basically my light source becomes as big as this is. So instead of it coming out of this little tiny powerful light, it spreads the light out. So it really softens it. I wonder if this will help my lighting situation in here. Can I just leave this here? All right, because it's crazy light in here. We use the bounce card, we use the umbrella. What else? There are a million other things you can do with your flash. You can put gels on them, you can turn them different colors, but I feel for a beginner, if you're just starting out, work with the basics, master the basics, and then start playing around with different modifiers like gels or maybe a softbox or that kind of thing. So where I stand. So I'm gonna give you guys a little diagram. So what will happen is there's either going to be a band or a DJ off to one side of the dance floor, and they usually have a speaker somewhere on either side of their table. So I'm gonna put my flash right here or right here. So I'm gonna star those areas. And that is where I'm gonna set up my flash. I'm gonna set it up so that it aims directly into the middle of the dance floor. And then I am either going to stand on this side or this side. So I'm going to stand 90 degrees on either side when someone is in the middle of the dance floor. Now, if I want to get the flash in my photo and I'm okay with that, then I can stand anywhere along this side and I'm just gonna kind of walk back and forth along this whole side. Now, it really helps if my subject stands directly in front of the flash and blocks it, and then they kind of get just a ring around them where the light comes through, and that way it doesn't haze and get crazy. So sometimes it can work to your benefit, and sometimes it just does nothing, and it can kind of make it really difficult to focus and that kind of thing. But for the most part, I'm gonna put my light stands somewhere that no one's gonna trip over them and it's near a speaker or something else so that nobody's gonna be running around right near here. Ultimately, guys, you can't get someone else's settings or someone else's experiences for your own. There's really no substitute for just getting out there, putting that flash in your camera, getting a flash off your camera, and playing around. So even if you're literally shooting an inanimate object in your house, you're going to grow. You're going to start to understand what settings work and what don't. And there's no substitute for that. So start practicing. I hope that this got you guys a little bit more comfortable with flash and the idea of it. I would love to see if you guys take any awesome pictures. Link them for me, share them with me, tag me on Twitter, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.